right, let me hit got it. All right, so thank you for everybody for coming together. The purpose for us coming together is we basically have 500 people on the 15 Tango Facebook group, and there are a lot of people that are not aware that the 15 Tango group is actually about a book. And so I wanted to bring the author James Simmons together with the main character John Griswold, and
Yeah.
just really wanted to tell everybody, like, 15 Tangos a book, what it's about, the goal of the book, and the overall purpose of the group. So with that, James, can you tell us what the book is about? For somebody who, doesn't even know what a 15 Tango is, just kind of start there.
Yeah, so 15 Tango in essence, right? That's a Blackhawk repair mechanic. They're the primary ones, whether it be a crew chief who's on flight status or whether they be just the technicians in the hangar and making the mission every day. Essentially started, that traditionally, you see movies or you see, you know, stories that are based on heroes and you see the interaction to the point of the heroic moments. And that's where the limelight begins and that's where it starts out. And they just tell the story of the heroism. And then, sitting there thinking about that and the fact that it is here every time, you see traditionally a crew member in an aircraft with the cameos. It's either a crazy door gunner who's out there getting some, or it's the even Black Hawk Down where it's the no fear, perfect storm with the Coast Guard and it's just in the crazy weather and all you get is this little snidbit of this person in the back that's semi crazy, semi not normal, is just this person that you're just wondering like what is up with them, right? What's the environment? Is it too many fumes? Is it too much something going on or whatever? So kind of wanted to expose that, but at the same notion, I wanted to bring out the theory of or the story of how you get that way, right? How does one get to be in the position of sitting in the back of that aircraft, right? It's not just an instantaneous, hey, you come here, soldier, get back here and do this job. Um, you know, and the reality is for the tangos of the world and for all the people that are involved with aviation, every day is a heroic effort that comes into play. And so I wanted to tell the whole story. And to put it in essence, just kind of a high arching overview of it, it was basically, the way I began to summarize it was to take Band of Brothers, Black Hawk Down and Entourage and just mix it all together in the one melting pot and then create from the aviation point of view, from this crew chief point of view, the same existence of what we deal with. So, you know, it goes from the beginning of the characters. There's four main characters in the story, of course, John being one of them, and how they met, how they got together, how you build that brotherhood, how you build that the camaraderie from the initial training entry of learning their job, the responsibilities that come with that, and moving forward onto the evolutions and the changes in their lives of through completion of training up to entering a unit up to getting on flight status up to all the way up through deployment. So I just wanted to come from the aspect of one, the people that have done it and are experienced with it and can flash back and have the memories of what they went through and kind of relive it, to a personal effect. Have the characters that are relatable to everybody to where, it's like, I know that guy or I knew that guy in my unit or I had one of those or whatever. And then all the way to, somebody that just may be interested in like what is a crew chief, how do you become a crew chief or what it is. So a little bit of technical details of the aircraft and the systems and the training environment, and then at the same time written to be able to be understood in its most simplest aspect. So very unique story, very compelling story, and I think everybody will like it.
Yep. I think you answered both my questions, is the about and the goal on one, so it's really good. So, basically for the people in the group, I know, John, you invited tons of people in the group, and really, the purpose of the group is really to bring awareness to the book and to really support the book. I know we have a lot of other things in the works that we're just going to not talk about right now. But John, did you want to add anything about the book and the people, or excuse me, or about the book, or about the group, or about the people that you invited?
No, James, well, actually, yes. Pardon the flickering lights. We are in a tornado watch right now, but as James said, we are a little bit crazy, and we like some of the extreme sports type stuff. It's the group. I'm glad to see. I watched it go from 22 people yesterday up to what we're at 507 the last time I looked, and it's taken off amazingly. And as you read some of the comments in there, James said that you can see the band of brothers, or he's bringing forth that band of brothers, and that's really true. I mean, those from our back shops individuals to the 15 tangos working in the hangar, 15 Golfs Bravos. It used to be 68 Golfs Bravos that back in the 68 series. Some of these guys that joined mid 80s, early 80s, and got out in the mid 90s, and then those of us that joined early 90s and then got out well into the 2000s area. There's not a lot of change there, even though there were several policy changes there. There's not a lot of change to the core of the 15 Tango as to who he is and what he is. The book again is, as James asked me questions, and what do you do in this scenario, and what have you found here? He's asking, and it's not really John's experience. It's more of the looking through the eye of the 15 Tango, not just John. There are similar experiences out there with numerous aircraft mechanics and crew chiefs and door gunners and medics, which they will all see a bit of themselves in this book, if you will. And the mothers that read this will actually be like, oh, that's what my kid did. Because we all know my mother worried for the 20 years that of the war that was going on. When we would deploy for a year, come back for 6 months, especially in the medevac early times of the wars, of the global war on terrorism. But there is that sense of camaraderie. There's still people I talk to. There's still people that call me up, ask me questions. There's still people that I call up and ask questions, or just to see how they're doing. So the band of brothers there is really there. And then the entourage, absolutely. I think the main characters of the book is actually the entourage, because we're still rather close and rather crazy. We tend to think that we're still in our 20s when we get together, which is quite funny. But the book itself is just a snippet. As the characters develop, you'll get to watch them kind of grow, not only as an individual, but just emotionally, with their leaderships, with leadership styles, with everything that goes on there. They'll suffer through banding together. They'll have to suffer through losses. They'll have to work those 27-hour days. It's the challenge that we all really feel to make sure that the mission happens, because I mean, we've referred to ourselves as what, glorified taxi drivers, or not drivers, but flight attendants or whatever. There's times in the command and control aircraft, where I've got some colonel sitting back there typing away on a computer, and he's like, "Hey, I need a soda." I'm like, "Yes, sir." There you go. And then there's time medevac missions where you're just like, there's a body sitting in front of you, and all we want is to make sure that we get it from point of where we picked them up to the cache with a heartbeat. Because as long as there's a beating heart, there's a person still there that can go back to their families, and there's a lot of emotion involved in that. The medic is actually the one that's supposed to be in charge back there, but the crew chief is just as much in that, and the feelings are there. And medics, God bless them, they do a great job And there is a love-hate relationship between the 15 Tango or the 68 Tango and the 68 whiskeys that are out there. But they also come into this band. Door gunners the same way. We pick up door gunners that are light wheel mechanics. I mean, I've had cooks that just get in there, and then we get in a fuzzy spot, and they're able to suppress just as well as the Tango, man, do their job. And that's what it's really about, is what goes behind the scenes of a 15 Tango, on the everyday life. And it's really interesting. We walk day to day, but if you actually sit and reflect back of, it regardless of and then there's a senior leader once said this back to me, and it really stuck in my mind, but it doesn't matter your proximity to the war. Your value or your contributions still count greatly. Or as don't confuse your proximity to the war to the contributions that you're making. Everybody, plays a part in that. Even the 15 Tango, very much so. There's a lot of times where we've gone into some hairy situations and pulled those war fighters out and got them back safe, or got them to another place they needed to go, and then just gently, hand them a bottle of water and wave politely as we sail back through the night into a somewhat comfortable chew to sleep in. We're always thinking about them. When are we going to get called up to go get them? How is it going to be when we get to them? There's their missions go through our mind too, because we're sitting there doing the chalk walks along with them, and we're in depth in the planning, along with our entire crew. The pilots sit in the front seat, very knowledgeable, very experienced. There's a few on this page, and we keep it light humor. We respect each other's position in the aircraft, but there is definitely light humor that goes back and forth, and I'm sure you can tell with some of the comments on there about me on the page so far.
Photos, yeah.
There are some good people out there. I don't want to name any names, but you'll be able to point them out pretty easily. But yeah, it's going to be a journey, I think, and I do believe everybody's going to love reading that book and then waiting for the next one. Yeah, Amy,
Yeah,
what
I
else
think
you got?
you hit on it, and I think it was one of the biggest points, in my career, and I think a lot of people, I think everyone, that has anything to do with aviation, at some point they wake up and they realize that, it's really, you're a support element, and you're there to support the warfighter and everybody else. So although you are a warfighter within yourself, really you're there for the next guy. You're there to take them to where they need to get, to bring them supplies, to evac them out, to do everything. It's all about the real fighting soldier that's on the ground. And I think it's kind of like one of those, like, man, this is really what it's about. This isn't necessarily like just thought helicopters were cool and just thought it was cool to be in aviation and look at my wings and, but then realize that no, there's a mission to be done. And the mission is to actually sit there and support everybody else and what they do. And that becomes your priority of the day, so that comes to the limelight. I try to express that and bring it to the surface to get people to kind of understand it that aren't familiar with it, as to what role does aviation truly play in the big scenario, and all the different elements of that. Personally, it was like me, 7 years of medevac. I could have sat back and wrote a dust off book beyond all belief of all the patients that I've flown or different stuff, but I wanted to be holistically about it. I wanted to include all the elements of where the Tangos ride and what they do and the work that is performed, from the hangars to the flight line to in flight and what they do. So it's very unique, and I think it's a story that had to be told, basically at the end of the day. So I really do appreciate everybody in the group. I appreciate, it's unbelievable to me how many have come around
What a
so
crazy
fast.
24 hours, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sitting there reaching out and talking to people, same thing, chatting with people I haven't talked to in years, and it's awesome and it's fun, because it seems like yesterday, so it's always a good time. So,
Yeah, I had no idea, just starting to invite people yesterday, which was December 8th, 2023, just to timestamp it, but I had no idea that we would have, over 500 people in a short period of time. So basically everybody's new mission right now is to really get the word out, the 15 Tango book. The best way to join the journey is, get the book. Go to 15tango.com, and we kind of posted something today spontaneously. We were thinking of delivering these books if people are in the Huntsville, Alabama area. You could post on the group that you would like us to hand deliver your book. We're thinking about just, go to a venue, just share a beer or something very lighthearted. We are planning something probably closer to the summer, to have more of like a book party, something like that. So look forward to that. But it's really, bringing this community and really highlighting the 15 Tango, the underdog that's always been in the shadows, to bring them to limelight and really tell the story that has never been told. So hopefully we can do that. So with that, any final comments or remarks from anybody?
no, thank you, John. I appreciate everything, your friendship, and it means a lot to me.
Yep.
And everybody that's participative and helping out, and don't be scared to invite anybody or share it or spread the word or anything else, because it's the more we get on board, I think the bigger and stronger it becomes. And I think we're just gonna see what this evolves to, and I think it's gonna be really impressive at the end.
Yeah, I still spend a lot of time on Fort Campbell, just with my what I do today. Yeah, I hope to see some of that 15 Tango swag that's going to be out there. I like to roll up to 6101 or 5101 and hangar, and and see some 15 Tango sunglasses, or the guys out doing PT or in the gym by themselves wearing that 15 Tango hoodie. You'd be able to represent, because this is going to be a great community. It'll be a lot of time. And if you guys have ideas that you want 15 Tango's trademark on, let us know. Let Amy know. She's all about getting that 15T that out there. As you see in her background, it's an awesome thing. There's a lot of us in the deployments and whatnot wore our Jedi or Jedi Master or Jedi Knight, tabs underneath, hidden from the Sergeant Major, and unless you were a Sergeant Major that had it as well, hidden from the Colonel, then this could be a new thing, representing us, representing our community. All right, but yeah, again, I am enjoying the journey again. It's a lot of fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, I just want to thank everybody. And until we have these talks again, we'll see you then.
Thank you.
Bye.